Hi, my name's Ian Fielding. I'm doing the Masters in Secondary. This is my final project, and here we are talking about CLIL. Okay, now before we have a look at the web quest that I've made, let's just have a quick look at what CLIL is. Now, CLIL is short for Content and Language Integrated Learning. What does that mean? Well, it means that the students do not separate core subjects like maths, science, music, ICT, and English. No. It's all incorporated into one. Now, this is very motivational for the students as they really do feel and they have the attitude that they can do what is asked of them. How does this work? Well, the CLIL method tries to encourage children to use what they know, to learn more about what they want to know. Now, to do this, the teachers must make allowances for the students to concentrate not only on language skills, but also on the content. Now here the emphasis is on the students learning by learning. To carry this out properly, the teachers must be flexible. The teacher must be prepared to allow the students to use their mother tongue. The classes must be natural, and the use of direct teaching is not encouraged, and the children must learn through use. Now, some benefits to CLIL education is that students are more likely to take part in class because they are more confident in front of a teacher who allows them to use their mother tongue. Now, if the lesson is interesting and they hear the English, what they're going to want to do is learn more about the content, therefore learn more about the English so that they can take part in a more incidental and natural way. Now, the activity that I propose for this presentation is a web quest. You can see it here. The subject is social science and the children are in first of ESO. Now, these activities are done in the third trimester of the school year and the children are already well on their way to having a good level of spoken English. Now, although this is a web quest and they're encouraged to do the web quest at home, most of the activities are taken part in school and the web quest is given as some kind of homework where they can share their knowledge, take part in the web quest with their friends, share it with their parents. And let's face it, reviewing what they've seen in class is never going to be a bad thing. Okay, the objectives of this web quest is to allow the students as much contact as possible with English. The web quest is divided into sections where the students will find interesting and some funny videos. They will find some short writing tasks and the listening tasks, and they will be given time in the classroom to give opinions and practice the language that they have learned and discuss any problems they may have with their classmates or peers. Okay, now this class is part of a social science activity about voicing complaints, and the students will practice techniques about how to correctly voice an opinion without getting angry. They will also need to put themselves in the shoes of a real-life complaint and solve it correctly. Now, the linguistic objectives of this activity are read and listen for understanding. Now, the students should try to get the gist of what's being said or read. Increase knowledge on correct use of adjectives and increase vocabulary to use when complaining or receiving complaints. And to use given sentences to increase the students' language output. Okay, use correct pronunciation when speaking. And here, as you can see, past the students have access to the objectives, which is important because they really do need to know what is expected them by the end of this unit. Okay, now the LOE give us some basic competences that we should be covering. It is not difficult to cover these competences, but here I've listed 5 which are covered just in this web quest. Now, the linguistic competence is covered. It's quite obvious. The students are required to speak during class. They're required to communicate through written activities and share in a real life situation where they are required to communicate in real life. There's a cultural competence. Now, this competence requires the students to use their imagination and creativity. We have covered this with an activity that we will discuss more at the end. And the open-ended questions, the students will have to have or have to use or answer to give their opinions in class. Now, the ICT competence opens doors for students to solve real-life problems in a correct manner. Now, these activities that I've got here try to promote that by trying to make the students use real-life technology to solve a possible real-life scenario. The social competence in this competent students must be aware of their social surroundings. They must also learn how to behave in these surroundings, and the activities here give them the freedom to do that. Learning how to learn. Now, really what they need to know where they are and where they want to be in the future. Now, to do this, they must be given every opportunity to discover for themselves what they want to learn. Now, the different taps in this web quest that actually complement these complements are as follows. We have an introduction. Okay. CLIL says it's important that the children are interested in what they want to learn. Okay, now let's have a look at the introduction. How do we look when we are complaining? Can we do it better? Again, they've got some pictures here. They can probably relate to some of these pictures. They probably love the idea of this one. And they're going to wonder what the hell this guy is doing here. Okay, now the questions that are asked are, how are they complaining? Why are they complaining? And how are they feeling? Okay, here what we want to do is capture interest. Okay, not only be looking at the pictures, but something to bring to the class the next day. Some opinions, some way of answering that. Now here in the task part, the students, as I mentioned before, are given an opportunity to see the objectives and how it is outlined for them. Okay, it also tells them that this web quest is about you. Okay, we're trying to encourage the student to want to learn. We need to keep them interested. Okay, and then we go on to the processes. Now the processes is the list, a short list of things that the students are going to have to do to complete this web quest and to reach what would be the formative assessment at the end. Okay, now the students here, what they need to do is read the sentences. Okay, now here they're going to try and get the gist of what they're reading, but they're also encouraged to use dictionaries to find meanings, etc. Okay, and then what they're asked to do then is to write down 3 sentences and relate them to the pictures that they can see on this activity, which is one of the first written activities. So the 3 pictures that they see at the beginning, and then relate the 3 sentences. What are they saying? Okay, now what they're going to do with that is bring it to class, sit with classmates and review the meanings and highlight mistakes and redo the work if necessary. Now, this is reading for gist and a model writing activity. Okay, this is going to help them with their reading strategies. In activity 2, the students will be given, asked to be given opinions about 2 videos. The first video is a funny video from Faulty Towers, and the second video is an instructional video about how to make complaints. Now they're going to have to watch the two activities and bring their opinions to class. Now these activities are going to help them when they have to do their final task, and this activity promotes higher cognitive skills because the students are going to have to think about what they're watching and bring to the table an opinion and maybe arguments as to why they don't agree with other students. Okay, in task 3, which is the one that I'm going to go into more depth about, is the final activity. Okay, now this activity needs to be done in pairs. They pick a scenario and record the phone conversation. One student does the phone complaint and the other one does the flight complaint. Now, again, during class, they will listen to the recording and make sure that they're phone, so there's simple instructions. Now, throughout the whole of the lesson, the students will be given ample input and chances to improve and refine their English to be able to do this activity without any difficulties or embarrassment. Now, the teacher can't simplify the lesson, what it needs to do is give out the English, model it, correct them if necessary, allow peers to contribute to each other's learning, helping them to go from where they are to where they want to do. Now, from where they want to be. Now, the best way to get the students to speak without complex in this web quest was allow them to use mobile phones and computers to record the final class. Now, it allows them to use all the language skills learned and to be able to do it in the comfort of their own home with a friend, and rather in the classroom with the teacher. Now, of course, here the teacher has modeled and remodeled, both with examples and videos, the kind of activity that is required of the students. Now, also, before this activity, the students must plan and confer with classmates as how to go about the role play and write the ideas down. Enhancing peer communication like this helps students incorporate more of what we are asking them in a more natural way. CLIL, in the CLIL notes, it mentions metacognitive strategies as being a union of thinking and problem-solving strategies. Now, this last activity it encourages that by allowing the students to think about the problem and not just talking about it in class, but actually solving it in as much real-life capacity as we can. The CLIL also encourages the cognitive strategies, and as the students are required to brainstorm ideas as what they're going to say in the role play, and maybe even write down parts of what they need to say. This encourages their cognitive strategy. It's also very important in this activity that the students are allowed to mingle with other groups in the class and share ideas. Now, cooperative learning is much better than teacher-centered learning, as the students don't feel pressured. Now, there is in my class a policy that you have to ask 3 and then you can ask me, and that's where they ask for help from 3 students before they ask for teacher input. Now, this activity will have rubrics assessment. That's in here, and the rubrics assessment is very, very simple. It outlines a range of efforts that the students have given throughout this activity. Now, it's important that the students have not only reached the summative assessment, okay, it is also which is the role play, but has also reached the learning objectives the teachers have set out. Now, the formative assessment will determine if the students have completed the process properly, and this will be done also using the rubrics. We don't have an exam to evaluate the language use, as we should be more concerned with the key focus, which should be encouraging the students to learn the language more than studying for an exam. Now, if we focus on the process and the meaning, the students will try harder to correct mistakes. I thank you for listening. This class has, or rather this asignatura as it was, this subject has opened my eyes a little bit more as to how children should learn, and I've incorporated a lot of the ideas into my primary room classrooms. I thank you very much for your time, and we will see each other on exam day. Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye.